Welcome. Take a moment to settle into stillness as you arrive fully into this space. When Star Wars first appeared on screens, it offered more than a story of heroes and villains. It introduced an idea that felt ancient, familiar, and strangely comforting. The Force was not framed as magic, nor as technology, but as something deeper. It was described as an energy created by all living things, binding the galaxy together. For many viewers, this idea resonated far beyond fiction. It felt like a memory rather than an invention. George Lucas has spoken openly about his intention when creating the Force. He wanted to reintroduce spirituality into modern culture without tying it to doctrine or religious authority. His goal was not to replace religion, but to remind people of something universal. He believed that stories could reach places that sermons could not. The Force became a spiritual language that anyone could understand. It invited curiosity rather than obedience. Lucas observed that many people had grown disconnected from spiritual meaning. Organized belief had become heavy with rules and division. The Force offered an alternative. It suggested that meaning could be experienced directly rather than inherited. No temple was required. No hierarchy was enforced. Only awareness, discipline, and intention mattered. The Force draws deeply from Eastern philosophy, particularly Buddhism and Taoism. Taoism speaks of the Tao as the underlying flow of the universe. Buddhism teaches awareness, non-attachment, and inner balance. These ideas echo clearly in Jedi teachings. A Jedi does not dominate the Force. A Jedi aligns with it. Power comes through harmony, not control. In Taoism, the Tao is often translated as the way. It is not something to grasp, but something to follow. This mirrors the Jedi understanding of the Force. One does not force outcomes, but listens and responds. Resistance creates imbalance. Flow restores clarity. The Force, like the Tao, moves through all things without effort. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises from attachment and fear. Jedi teachings reflect this principle with striking accuracy. It was Master Yoda who articulated this truth most clearly when he warned, "Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering." This is not mythology, but psychology. The Jedi path is one of emotional awareness and self-mastery. It is a practice of inner freedom. Jediism emerged as a real-world philosophy inspired by these ideas. It is not role-playing, nor is it worship of fiction. Jediism focuses on ethical living, mindfulness, and service to others. Practitioners view the Force as a metaphor for interconnected consciousness. For some, it is symbolic. For others, it is experiential. In both cases, it invites responsibility rather than belief. This is where Carl Jung enters the conversation. Jung believed myths arise from the collective unconscious. These stories emerge because they reflect deep structures of the human psyche. The Force functions as one of these archetypal symbols. It represents connection, meaning, and the unseen order beneath reality. We recognize it because it already exists within us. Jung proposed that beneath individual minds lies a shared psychological field. This collective unconscious shapes dreams, symbols, and spiritual insight. When audiences resonated with the Force, it was not accidental. The idea activated something ancient. It bypassed intellect and spoke directly to intuition. The force became a mirror for inner knowing. For much of history, science dismissed consciousness as a byproduct of matter. That assumption is now being questioned. Quantum physics revealed a universe that behaves very differently when observed. Reality appears less solid and more relational. Observation matters. Participation matters. This challenges long-held materialist views. Quantum entanglement shows that particles remain connected across space. Changes in one are reflected in another instantly. This defies classical explanations. It suggests a deeper underlying field of connection. The force, once dismissed as fiction, begins to resemble a metaphor for this reality. Everything influences everything else. This is where the work of Federico Faggin becomes essential. Faggin argues that consciousness is not produced by matter. Instead, matter arises within consciousness. This idea echoes one of Master Yoda's most misunderstood teachings: do or do not. There is no try. This was never about force or perfection. It was about alignment. When intention and belief are divided, effort replaces clarity. When consciousness is aligned, action follows naturally. Faggin describes consciousness as primary, irreducible, and experiential. He emphasizes first-person awareness as real data, not illusion. According to his model, the universe is participatory. Reality is not happening to us, but through us. This aligns closely with the force as an ever-present field. Awareness is not separate from the universe. It is the universe knowing itself. What science is now discovering, ancient traditions have long expressed symbolically. The language differs, but the insight converges. Interconnection, awareness, and balance are no longer mystical claims alone. They are measurable, observable, and testable. The force becomes a bridge between inner experience and outer reality. Myth and measurement meet. The Jedi path was never about power over others. It was about responsibility over self. Awareness precedes action. Compassion guides strength. Discipline creates freedom. These principles remain relevant in a fragmented world. Jediism, at its core, is about conscious participation in life. Today, many feel disconnected despite constant connectivity. The Force speaks to this longing. It reminds us that meaning is not external. It arises through awareness, intention, and presence. Spirituality does not require belief. It requires attention. The path begins inward. Both Jedi teachings and quantum physics emphasize balance. Extremes collapse systems. Harmony sustains them. Light and dark are not enemies, but forces to be understood. Integration replaces suppression. Consciousness evolves through awareness. The Force is balance in motion. Star Wars succeeded because it spoke to something timeless. The Force is a living myth adapted for a scientific age. It does not ask for belief, but invites exploration. It does not divide, but connects. In this way, it continues to evolve. The story grows as we grow. The Force was never something to find. It was something to remember. You are already part of the field. Your thoughts, emotions, and intentions matter. Awareness changes experience. Presence changes reality. This is not fantasy. It is participation. As this reflection comes to a close, bring attention back to your body. Notice your breath. Notice the quiet awareness behind thought. This is where the force is felt most clearly, not in spectacle, but in stillness, not in control, but in connection. As you return to your day, remember that every step you take is felt by the earth. Your breath, your heartbeat, your presence, they matter. Ground yourself in the now and let the earth hold you steady. You are part of something greater. Stay connected, stay grounded, and know that healing begins with presence. I leave you with this inspiration. The light of the universe surrounds you. The love of the universe enfolds you. The power of the universe protects you. The presence of the universe watches over you. You are one with the universe. Awaken to the energies that connect us all. You are not alone. The universe is listening, and your journey matters. Finally, may the force be with you.